And again, pure speculation, folks. I may be fully wrong here. I think she's taking a page out of Jada Pinkett's playbook because I think they're getting ready to announce that something's going on in the marriage. And I think this is their way of doing it in a very subtle way, because if you're taking shots at him slowly, you're taking shots, they're going in games in different ways. I'm not sure if there's been an entanglement or not, but I think there may be a possibility of a news coming here soon that could actually get her podcast to blow up. And you know what could get her podcast to blow up? If she announces that they're getting a divorce. Yeah. That day, they'll get a few 100,000 subs. And then that's where the controversy will come. So I don't know if she's trying to do the Jada thing and finding the next thing to, what was her podcast that she was doing? It was called Red Table or something like that. And then Will came on, because you know who's going to be a guest very soon.
Michelle Obama isn't someone you expect to snap, but on live TV she did. Patrick Bet-David dropped a bombshell so explosive that millions are still replaying the moment. What set her off? And what secret was she trying to keep buried? Let's dig in. Patrick Bet-David didn't waste time warming up. Ferment the cameras started rolling. He went straight for the jugular. No softball questions, no polite small talk, just raw, pointed strikes aimed directly at Michelle Obama.
17,000 subscribers divided by 58 million, 17,000 subscribers divided by 57 million followers. Do you know what percentage went? Do you guys really want to know? 0.003% went to want to subscribe to her channel. Did you understand what number I just said right now? To say they've lost their influence and their sizzle of what the Obamas used to be would be an understatement.
His tone was firm, his delivery calculated, and every word seemed designed to cut through the mohair-polished image. For years, Michelle has been the model of composure, grace under pressure, unshaken even when critics lined up to tear her apart. But this time was different. This wasn't a political debate stage or a friendly daytime interview. This was Patrick, face to face, throwing questions that carried the weight of accusations. And for the first time in years, the cracks began to show. Michelle shifted in her chair. Her smile tightened. Her body language said everything. This wasn't just uncomfortable, it was personal. The audience could feel it. The tension wasn't just on stage, it seeped through the screen, making viewers lean in closer. Because everyone knew. This wasn't going to end with calm words and a graceful exit. This was going to explode.
Expensive to live in the White House.
Yeah.
As many people don't know. Sure. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane. It is an expensive proposition, and you're running for 2 years and not earning an income.
Patrick Bet-David didn't tiptoe around it. He cut straight to the bone. No easing in, no careful lead-up. One moment he was asking about her public image, and the next he hit her with a claim so bold that the entire room seemed to freeze. This wasn't just a challenging question.
Why would you ever post this picture? No, people were, and I'm actually not being funny. They were asking Barack, why would you ever post this picture? What part of Michelle's picture? Barack looks great. That is not a...
Could you close up on her, Rob?
Actually don't, but can you zoom out a little bit? Not for bad reasons. It's just she doesn't look good in that picture.
It was a direct strike at the one thing Michelle Obama has worked tirelessly to protect: her personal life beyond the spotlight. He hinted at what some commentators quickly labeled her dark secret. And though he never spelled it out word for word, the implications were enough to ignite a storm. Reports suggest Patrick was circling around issues Michelle has avoided for years. Some say it was tied to her early background and the rough climb into political power. Others insist it was about the unspoken pressures inside the White House, where her every move was dissected. And then there are the darker whispers. Old conspiracy theories that have never been proven, yet continue to trail her name online like shadows she can't shake off. On paper, it was just a question. But in the unforgiving spotlight of live TV, it became a weapon. The insinuation carried more weight than any confirmed fact could. Patrick had thrown gasoline on a fire that had been smoldering for years, and suddenly, it roared to life. The reaction was instant. The energy in the room flipped like a switch. Michelle's body stiffened. Her calm mask cracked. A flash of disbelief crossed her face before it hardened into anger. Everyone watching could feel it. This wasn't just television anymore. This was a live confrontation, and the First Lady of Composure had just been forced onto the defensive.
Bob, if you can play this clip, this is her talking about how expensive it was to live in the White House. Go for it.
It's expensive to live in the White House.
Yeah.
As many people don't know. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every food, every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane. It is an expensive proposition, and you're running for 2 years and not earning an income.
The clash didn't end when Michelle Obama fired back. It detonated the second the cameras kept rolling. And within minutes, the fallout spilled far beyond the studio walls. Social media went into overdrive. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of them flooded with clips of the confrontation. Some users froze the moment Michelle's expression changed, looping it with captions like, "She finally snapped," or "The mask just slipped." Others stitched the clip into fiery commentary, accusing Patrick of being reckless and crossing the line. But not everyone saw it that way. A wave of voices claimed her eruption was proof he had struck a nerve. If it wasn't true, why get so angry? One viral post asked, racking up hundreds of thousands of likes. Another thread accused her of dodging questions she didn't want to face, fueling the idea that maybe Patrick had uncovered something she didn't want in the spotlight. Memes exploded too. On one side, fans posted GIFs of Michelle clapping back like a superhero, celebrating her fiery defense. On the other, critics turned still frames of her fury into endless reaction memes, mocking what they called the First Lady's meltdown. The media jumped in almost instantly. Headlines splashed across news sites with words like erupts, explodes, and dark revelation. Talk shows replayed the clip in slow motion, analyzing her body language, her tone, even the way she leaned forward in her chair. Commentators debated whether Patrick had crossed a journalistic line or whether Michelle had just exposed a side of herself the public rarely gets to see. The numbers told the story. Within 24 hours, the clip had tens of millions of views across platforms. Hashtags with both their names trended globally. And the debate wasn't just about politics anymore. It became personal, cultural, even generational. Was this the moment Michelle's carefully crafted image cracked? Or was it proof she could still dominate any challenge thrown at her? One thing was clear. The internet wasn't just reacting, it was dividing. And that division only added gasoline to a fire that was already spiraling out of control.
Can you now go to their net worth today, 2025? What is the net worth
Gotta
today?
be worth a couple $100 million. No?
It's two numbers. You see
Is it
70 million to 250 million dollars. So 70 million to 250 million dollars. If you type in a couple other places, you'll see 100 million, you'll see 70 million, or you'll see a couple ranges. But let's just stick to the 70 million dollars. Pre-presidency, 1.7. So expensive being at the White House. It was so expensive that our net worth went from 1.3 million to 12.2 million 8 years later.
So what exactly did Patrick Bet David hint at? That's the question that has been ripping through the internet ever since the confrontation. And here's where the story takes a darker turn, because nobody agrees on what the so-called dark secret really was. Some say Patrick was pointing to Michelle's early background, revisiting old rumors about her upbringing that critics have twisted for years. They argue that his question wasn't random. It was meant to force her into a corner about parts of her life she's always kept private. Others insist it was tied to her time inside the White House. Being First Lady meant enduring non-stop public scrutiny, and there were always whispers about power struggles behind closed doors, pressures that nearly broke her down, and personal sacrifices that were never made public. To this day, stories circulate about those years, some sympathetic, others critical. Patrick's words may have brushed against those open wounds. And then there are the conspiracy theories, the kind that live on blogs, message boards, and late-night corners of YouTube. These are the wild claims that have followed her name for over a decade, unproven, unverified, but still out there. Some fans say Patrick gave those whispers oxygen the moment he raised that question on live TV. What makes it worse? Michelle didn't explain. She didn't calm the rumors with facts. She fought back hard, but she never clarified what exactly set her off. And that silence created a vacuum. Into that vacuum rushed every theory, every rumor, every wild claim imaginable. And for millions watching, that was enough. The lack of answers only made the secret feel bigger, darker, and more untouchable. Patrick hadn't just asked a question. He had opened Pandora's box. And once it was out, there was no way to close it. The confrontation didn't stop on stage. It blew up everywhere. News outlets replayed the clip on loop, with some calling it a bold challenge and others blasting it as a cheap ambush. Podcasts split in half. One side praising Patrick for asking the forbidden question, the other accusing him of going too far. Online, the reaction was even harsher. Some viewers swore Michelle's eruption proved he hit a nerve, while her supporters argued she was simply done with baseless attacks. The debate turned into a wildfire, fueling endless threads, memes, and commentary. And while Michelle's team stayed silent, Patrick doubled down, telling his audience he only asked what millions were already thinking. That move kept the spotlight burning even hotter, and ensured the controversy wasn't going away anytime soon. So here's the bottom line. Did Patrick bet David cross a line, or did he crack open something Michelle Obama never wanted touched? Was her eruption just raw frustration, or proof that he got too close to the truth? One thing's certain, the internet isn't letting this moment fade. And whether she addresses it or stays silent, Michelle's reaction has already changed how millions see her. But what about you? Was Patrick fearless or reckless? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you stayed until the end, and subscribe for more stories the mainstream won't touch.